What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of For the Fowlers. I'm Brandon.
And I'm Caden.
What's up, Caden? How you doing, man?
Oh, I'm doing good. Just trying to stay warm up here. It's getting a little cold.
Nice, man. Well, here we are the Sunday after Thanksgiving. How was your holiday?
It was good. I went up and visited some family up in Tahoe. Well, I guess we're supposed to be talking waterfowl, so that's kind of the spoiler there. Seems like every year on Thanksgiving, I tend to book myself with the family. It's kind of a little family time before I disappear for the next 60 days.
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat. 5-6 years ago, we started hosting Thanksgiving here at our house, and actually I had plans to go out hunt the refuge on Wednesday, but I know these guys the listeners are probably give me some shit, but I ended up getting pretty sick over last week. So I was like, yeah, I can't go out because I had family coming and everything. So I had to kind of make sure I was good to go there. But yeah, man, it's a good holiday.
For me,
go ahead.
Yeah, and I'm with you. For me, it's like November is a good time to not burn some of those favors with the wife. We call it Slowvember. I mean, there's definitely been birds to go after. You can't shoot them from the couch, but on the flip side, it's a good time to finish up some of those honeydews as well, because for the most part, it's not going to be lights out.
Well, I'll tell you what, man, and this episode's kind of all about the season in review thus far, and I will tell you that looking on kind of Instagram, Facebook, just texting some other hunting buddies, guys were getting into them this past week, and I saw a lot of guys on Wednesday, and then even some guys that got some Thanksgiving morning hunts in, and I don't know if it's this thick fog that we've been having, but guys are getting into the birds for sure. There's some nice pictures out there.
I've had to silence the couple of group chats I'm in because normally it's not a whole lot of success over the Thanksgiving break. And so I didn't obviously schedule any hunts, and I was getting a lot of pictures from buddies of mine hunting their private clubs. But some of the guys hunting even my rice blinds were getting birds, and I was pretty surprised, but that's, good foreshadowing of things to come.
Yeah, that's exactly how I was looking at it. And you and I know we got some good hunts coming up, and December and January is only going to get better, but we got some pretty fun hunt opportunities, you and I, coming up in the next few weeks that I know I'm really looking forward to. A spot that I've never been to, that I've been putting in for a very long time. I think you've hunted it one time, right? Once or twice?
Yep.
Once? Yeah.
One time.
Yeah, so it'll be good to have you along on that one to kind of show the way. And I know we've been doing some research on it. So, historically it should be a good hunt. So I'm looking forward to it. But yeah, this season so far, it's been kind of hit and miss for me, but it's definitely starting to pick up. Obviously it's kind of a slow start. We both didn't hunt opening weekend. But, shortly after that, had a couple opportunities, some where we just kind of watched the sunrise and some where we thought it was going to be a slow day, and we ended up getting into them. And I know you had more than your fair share of hunts, especially some of your opportunities on some of the private property that you've been hunting. You've had a pretty good season so far, right?
Yeah, so, just getting into my past couple weeks, it's been good. I live up in Shasta County, so I've been making the trek up to Modoc County and Lassen County to try and find some of the birds that are staged, so to speak, before they make the final jump down to the valley, or at least that's my goal. And I've had some pretty good success. I've had some bad days. What was pretty cool is starting off early in November, I went up to a public refuge up here, Ash Creek, and I left work just based on the conditions. And it's kind of unique refuge. It's a huge refuge. It's been under a lot of work from CWA over the past 5 or 6 years. And you can get into some birds there, and you can definitely waste a lot of time there. I'm probably 50-50, but I had probably one of my better afternoon hunts. Really got into some birds. It was a crazy flight for probably like from 2 o'clock to 3 o'clock, 3 to 4. And then it did shut down, but luckily we weren't being picky at that time, which is something I've tended to do in the afternoon hunts, because I like to try and find those, those greenheads, those mallards at the end of the day. But just getting out there, we wanted to shoot some birds. I wanted to get my dog on some birds. And again, this was early November, and we walked out with, a little, what did we have? As two of us, I think we had 8 or 9 birds between the two of us. So good hunt, especially given the circumstances of leaving work early and just getting up there to shoot. But then again, I saw the exact same weather pattern about 4 or 5 days later, did the exact same thing, cut out of work early, drove up there, and I stared at the sky. And it was so crazy, because as soon as shoot light changed, and this was right after daylight savings time, I kid you not, hundreds, if not thousands of birds all of a sudden start flying over, landing in water. So it's like they know right when legal shoot light is called, they know when to fly.
For sure. Yeah, man, it's been interesting. I've had some conversations with some other hunters, and they're kind of echoed the same thing with just kind of the change in weather, change in shoot light, shooting patterns, all those different things that, we're just trying to kind of stay one step ahead,
Yeah. I mean, I've hunted with, kind of back to that, I've hunted with some new people that I've met, hunted a new property way up in Modoc County, and that was super unique hunting up there. Had a ton of success, but the story of my season's kind of been hot and heavy and quick. Definitely want to hit those birds early. There seems to be a lot of them for me. And then it does shut off. And I mean, most of my opportunities, when it's shut off, it's like a true November day at Sac Refuge. Like there's not a bird to be seen. So I think like it's been a combination of being in the right spot, but also shooting well and just being, taking the advantage of the birds when the birds come in.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. Yeah, I'd kind of echo that. I feel like I, got out there pretty quick this season, like you said, kind of hot and heavy, just especially with the podcast, just trying to kind of get out there and, get some birds on the strap and kind of see what's going on, be out there with other fellow hunters and listeners and just kind of know what the flight's doing, but it has been a little bit of a weird start to the season, whether it was that storm that we had right before the balance of the state opener, some different, temperature fluctuations, different things like that. It's been slow, but like I said, it's definitely starting to pick up. It's been cool seeing all the different guys, different success. We've been talking about it on here the last couple of weeks. The rice fields are starting to flood up just out here by my house here out in like the Pleasant Grove, Sankey area. They're flooding up those ponds and, tons of birds are loading in. I was traveling for work the other day and just, landing back into Sacramento and just looking out the window and seeing all the fields just flooded up. And like I said, just tons of birds starting to raft up. So hopefully those guys start to, pick up and, get an opportunity to get out there and take advantage of their leased properties.
Yeah. Kind of to echo that. It seems like guys who have good access on some good property, especially in the valley, have been getting into birds. Like we kind of talked about at the beginning of this, I got some good pictures. My rice is kind of just getting going. I know one of our blinds I haven't even been out to. That's kind of the more southern blind that my blind partner definitely manages that. But the northern blind where I put my spread out, it seems like birds are starting to trickle in. It was pretty cool to see. My blind partner went out there with his family, and it's kind of a Thanksgiving tradition, and they got some birds. So that's good to see for me. And this is just I think it's a personality thing. I've had to scale my November expectations in rice because I have just had too many sunburns out there just looking at the sun, trying to hopefully shoot one. So tomorrow, tomorrow starts December, and excited to start getting out there and see that swing on the rice and get some of those hot and heavy wigeon work in and maybe get a couple pintail. I still haven't shot more than one pintail this year. So that's beyond frustrating for me because I've swatted them away from me years prior, and here we are, and I haven't shot more than one pintail.
So once again, my goal this season, I want to do the 3 pintail and 4 spoonie on a strap. I want to go check out that limit one day.
That would be good. Yeah. I don't know if people will be proud of you, or for me, the 7 spoonie limit is still the crown jewel. Drake spoonies, that's obviously, but yeah, the 3 pintail with the 4 spoonies, that might be a close second for me.
For sure. So, well, right on, man. Well, I know you and I chatted a little bit about this episode. I'll let you jump off here in a sec, but yeah, looking forward to this one. We're going to have a few other hunters on here, some other listeners, some guys that, we actually met on Instagram that, kind of listen to the podcast and, just kind of will check in with them. They kind of hunt all over. Looking forward to my conversation a little later with a hunter from Southern California. So it'd be kind of cool to get his perspective. We've been kind of chatting back and forth, and we're actually going to try to get a hunt together probably later next month when I'm down there. So
that'll be cool.
Yeah, I've never hunted Southern California, so that might be pretty cool. But man,
that'll be a unique experience
for sure. So I'll let you jump off, Caden, but I'm going to get our first caller in, our first guest on, and I'll chat with you this week, and I'll for sure see you next weekend on that hunt.
All right, sounds good. Take it easy.
See ya. All right, we got George on here. If you guys remember, I met George earlier, I think last year, but we caught up again this past opener over at Sanborn Slough, so it's been kind of cool connecting with him. But George, appreciate you coming on For the Fowlers, man. How's the season going so far?
It's going. I mean, the birds are definitely moving around in Calusa. So we went up there on Friday. We got 8 for 3 people. Not too bad. Got to work Goose a little bit. She's slowly getting there. I got my father-in-law out. Got him to shoot some more ducks, and then we've just been hunting around Pleasant Grove locally. And we went yesterday, 1 bird for 3 people, so it's pretty rough. But as it gets a little colder and the weather starts coming in, Pleasant Grove's usually pretty decent. You can get a couple limits. Yeah, pretty early.
Yeah, kind of a few things to unpack there. First off, how's Goose doing? First full season, right?
Yeah, she's doing good. We're about halfway through hold conditioning and force fetch.
Okay.
So she's getting it pretty well, and then she'll be sitting in a kennel next to the check or next to the pit blind probably most of December, getting used to gunshots and watching the other dogs work. So then she can't run away or break too quick and get shot or something. It kind of gives her a safe place to sit and observe and watch other working dogs work.
Yeah, was that you that was telling me you're going to send her off for about a month or so? Is that right?
I was going to, and I got 4 buddies that have only trained their dogs by themselves, and
okay,
they said they're going to help me out, and I bought a whole kit, the whole force fetch hold conditioning program from Lone Duck Kennels out of New York. $150 for 14 videos start to finish on hold conditioning and force fetch, and that's all she needed. So instead of sending her off and be without my dog for a month, I figured I'd keep her and we'd just learn it together.
Oh, for sure, man. I've seen it work both ways where, I have plenty of buddies that have done their own training and those dogs are absolutely fantastic. And in my experience, just kind of talking with them, I feel like, when you do the training yourselves, you do about 99% of the work, then you kind of send them off to get them finished for that final percent, but you'll be just fine. Goose is a great pup. Father-in-law is enjoying and the waterfowl season?
Yeah, he's enjoying it a lot. He hasn't been in any bad weather yet. No rain or anything, just a little bit of wind. But we're slowly working him up to. We're going to hunt the marsh in January, and it's going to be raining. It's a pretty sure thing. So I told him, you better get some rain gear, bud.
That's awesome. Well, I'm sure he's got a Sitka jacket or something, or some Sitka package you guys can win at a banquet or something like that, right?
Oh, yeah. We just won the NorCal Guide Sportsman's Association dinner. We actually won the winner-take-all table, $15,000 worth of stuff.
Yeah, man, that's awesome. Yeah, it's funny. Was it last week, 2 weeks ago? I ran into you at Sportsman's, and you were doing all the paperwork and all that stuff for all the fun toys you won.
Oh, yeah. Seems like every dinner we're getting something fun to leave with.
Yeah. Well, I was telling you before we jumped on the air here, I know a handful of buddies that hunt kind of the Pleasant Grove, Sankey, Riego area, and I know that's kind of where some of your properties and blinds are. Tell me a little bit about that. Like, I know it's kind of a later start to the season, but, when did you guys get water? Have you been able to hunt it much? How's that all going?
We've had water, I'd say, for the last 2 weeks, 2-3 weeks, we've had water. We've hunted it twice. We got kind of a late start. Everybody was either deer hunting or doing family stuff. So we got the blinds brushed and the decoys set, and we're slowly doing it. We're doing a kids hunt this Thursday before Thanksgiving. We're taking all the little kids with us. So awesome. Me, my buddy, and my 2-year-old, his 7 and 4-year-old. So we'll see how long they can last in the cold.
Sure, but that'll still be a lot of fun. Yeah, it's actually, I was looking at the weather for this upcoming holiday at Thanksgiving, and yeah, you're right. I mean, the weather's supposed to be okay, but it's going to be damn cold.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we'll be out Thursday morning, then we're going to hunt Saturday, Sunday. So hopefully we start seeing more birds, hopefully by the weekend.
Right on, man. And what are your kind of plans for the rest of the season? I know we'll check back in with you, but what you got any fun hunts coming up or anything you're looking forward to besides just, the blind and whatnot?
We're going to hunt with a John. I wish I could say his last name correctly. He owns Hydro Ducks. We met him up in Sanborn.
Yeah,
I
that's
hunted
right.
with him like a pre-hunt kind of thing at his house, but it looks like the middle of December when they can start running all the battery operated stuff and get to see his whole hydro duck system work. So we'll be out there middle of December, and then January 3rd, we're going to be up in Potrero Hills, the new club CWA bought.
Yeah.
I got a blind out there for their lottery thing where you got to buy a hunt for $300.
Yeah, that first come first serve one, right?
Yeah, so I got one of the last Saturdays they had available, January 3rd.
Nice, good.
So those two hunts will be kind of looking forward to those. But then nothing beats hunting with your buddies every weekend in the same blind, hanging out with the kids and getting away from everything and just enjoying each other's time.
Yeah, well, I hear you on that one, but just a little friendly heads up, just in case a spot opens up. My birthday's January 3rd, so
Perfect. We'll keep that in mind. Yeah.
Yeah. No, well, right on, man. Well, look forward to hearing about that. We'll have to connect. I'm excited to hear about that property. I've heard some great things about it. Yeah, keep us posted. Let us know how that goes.
Yeah, well, for sure. And then hopefully the next call we do, it'll be from the blind. The listeners can hear some gunshots go off at people trying to hit the ducks.
Yeah, for sure. Cool, man. Well, before we let you go, I know you guys are really big into supporting all the different associations and whatnot. You going to any more banquets this season or anything upcoming?
The Ducks Unlimited dinner, January 9th, the Blue Goose in Loomis, nice. California. And then the sponsors only dinner for CWAs in Fairfield in February.
Yeah.
That's pretty much it. Oh, one other thing I like to tell everybody is I did switch to a 28 gauge this season for a little bit. So it's a little bit of a learning curve. It's like shooting a BB gun though. So that's kind of fun.
So you said for a little bit, so you're still figuring that one out?
Yeah, I don't like the $67 a box for shells, but we'll get past that.
Right on. Well, yeah, it's funny. I'm going to be going to a banquet coming up here pretty soon. The Pocket Greenhaven one is week after next, or actually, I think it's next week. Next week. And, it's funny. I got my eyes on a 28 gauge, so we'll see what they have available at the auction there. So
there you go.
Cool. All right, man. Well, hey, I appreciate you jumping on real quick, and good luck the rest of the season, man. And we'll check in and see how everything else is going.
Right on. Thank you.
All right. See ya.
Yep.
All right, guys. We got Landon Acevedo here. Landon, how you doing, man?
Good. Actually, sitting out here hunting as we speak, so not taking any days off this year, that's for sure.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, for the listeners out here, Landon and I, we share a mutual buddy, but that's how we got connected. But he hunts kind of all over Northern California, and he brings kind of an interesting perspective. He used to be a guide, or I think you still have probably your guiding license, but you used to guide up in Sac Valley, even did some guiding up in Idaho. But I figured it'd be kind of cool to get his perspective on how the season's going so far. So, how are things going so far for you this year, Landon?
It's been kind of like most years, I would say. I heard from a lot of guys early that it was tough, but I think it was really spotty. The beginning of the year was actually pretty good for myself and the couple guys that I was hunting with. Got into some tidal water that I've never hunted before. I mean, you hear about it. Guys are in kind of the same stuff year after year, but we ended up finding some birds out there and had 2 or 3 good shoots early, hunting out of the boat, and then just kind of waited for the crowds to disappear on the refuges. They're always there for the first week and a half, 2 weeks, and then kind of went to work on those birds out there after that. So
Yeah, so, and not burning any spots here, but you're based down kind of in the grasslands area, but you hunt kind of all over. It seems like you kind of have the opportunity to kind of follow the migration. So you kind of hunt wherever you have your opportunities. So I know lately you've been spending some time up in the Sac Valley, but also in the grasslands. But where have you been spending most of your hunts this year? Has it been kind of balanced?
As of late, it's been kind of balanced. Usually early on, I spend all my time in the grasslands. It's just a shorter drive. I can get out and look around and familiarize myself with the areas a little bit more. It's not really a secret to the people that know me, but I kind of focus on the mallard thing. I literally go out pretty much every day that I hunt throughout the season. The goal is to go out and try to get my hands on a few mallards. So my reports sometimes aren't the most accurate because there's a lot of gray ducks and other stuff around and a lot of whistling ducks. And sometimes I pass on those to try to do what I like to do. So, but yeah.
No, that's awesome. It's funny. I was kind of checking out your Instagram the last month or so, and obviously saw a lot of greenheads on there, and thinking, I'm like, man, where's this guy hunting? And I was thinking you were almost kind of doing some out of state hunts, but no, that's awesome that you have that discipline and you know what you like to shoot, and that makes it more fun. Because I'm sure you'd have no problem filling the strap, but hey, if you get a few of the birds that you're actually pursuing, that's freaking awesome.
Yeah, I mean, and every once in a while, I definitely go out and do that. I've had a few shoots here in the last couple weeks where we've just gone out and gone regular duck hunting, and whatever comes in gets it. But I mean, yeah, it just kind of depends. Usually if I get invited somewhere on a reservation that's just holding a bunch of ducks, or if I draw something, I'll try to take a couple guys or a guy or whatever and kill ducks just like everybody else. But the mallard thing is kind of what keeps me going. So yeah.
Speaking of those mallard hunts, are there any hunts this year that that in particular stand out to you? Want to share?
I mean, yeah, every it seems like everybody kind of kills them on opening day, but on opening day this year, we hunted out of the boat. A couple of new guys that I hunted with this year, their names are Mark and Tony, but Mark's got a boat and he's been doing the boat thing for a while, and we kind of talked the last couple seasons, and we finally hooked up for a hunt together this year, opening day, and we went out and sat there for a while. In the morning, we ended up killing 21 greenheads, so it was a good day.
That's a great day.
It's definitely tough. I think a lot of people underestimate the mallard hunting thing, because a lot of times those ducks live in stuff that you have to have a really good dog or it's not even worth going. I mean, even hunting out here where I'm at this afternoon, sometimes you knock down a bird and you're looking for them for 15-20 minutes, especially if they don't go down dead. So, but yeah, going back to that hunt, I mean, it was cool. It seems like, especially here in California, these birds start out in big groups and at the beginning of the season, and then they kind of start to break up and move in like smaller family groups or even pairs early on, just because of where they're living and that kind of thing. And opening day almost kind of reminded me of the Idaho days, just because you see the big wads of mallards flying around, and you can trick a big group like that. It gets increasingly tougher every week throughout the season to call in a mob. So it's nice getting out there early and having a couple of good shooters with you and being able to knock down 4 or 5, maybe even 6 if you have a couple guys with you out of one group. So it was cool. I mean, we didn't have a lot of ups that day, but it was pretty effective, pretty efficient. We didn't have to chase birds all over the place too bad. So
for sure. Well, you're talking about kind of some of the movement and the way birds are working these days. Have you noticed any patterns out there as far as birds, kind of moving down early, late? What are you seeing out there?
I mean, it's tough, man. I think everybody has the science to look at, and everybody can kind of formulate their own opinion on how the birds move and stuff. But I mean, I really think these ducks kind of move back and forth, like even between the Delta region and the Sac Valley region daily, or every few days even. I know I've had the opportunity to talk to some guys that are in on the banding projects and stuff, and they have the ability to access the GPS data, and it's amazing how often these birds move locations, or sometimes they will just freeze up and stay on a location, even for weeks to a month at a time, where they're only moving short amounts. But I really think a lot of, especially the mallards in California, kind of figure out a spot where they're happy, and the smart ones figure out a way to get to and from those spots when they're not going to get killed, and they just kind of live that. I mean, I think mallard hunting in California is honestly just as difficult as killing a big buck or anything else. I mean, of course, duck hunting is a little more simple. You get to see the birds in the air and you get to call them to you, but the smart ones, man, there's a reason that they live as long as they do. I think they say something like, if a bird makes it up and down its flyway for the first 2 seasons, it has between an 80 and 90% chance of dying from old age rather than getting shot. So it's amazing how quickly those birds get educated that quick, and how successful they are at living afterwards.
For
I'm
sure.
going to have to take a break here for just a couple seconds. I've got something coming.
No, do it. Let's go for it.
Okay. All right, Brandon, we can keep going. I think I was talking about just like upcoming reservations and that.
Yeah,
kind of
any
stuff.
hunts you got coming up?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So anything coming up? I've got a good number down in the grasslands for opener for spinners here on Wednesday. So we'll try to make something happen there. It seems like, I mean, I guess all ducks, but really that's a really effective tool sometimes when you're trying to do the mallard thing. So I'm excited for that one. I'll definitely be focusing on that on Wednesday. And then other than that, I'm just trying to think here, where else? I've got a decent one. Gosh, I think I just came off of a couple good hunts up here in the North Valley. Like
Nice.
I said,
No,
I
and,
had one.
and you don't got to share all what you have coming up. You know, we can talk offline on that one, but I'll leave you with this one. Or the last question I have is, you mentioned we're getting ready to start, robo duck season, spinner season. What's your prediction for this December? You think it's going to continue to pick up? It's obviously getting a lot colder out there. Whether it's Sac Valley, grasslands. What do you got? What do you think?
I would say definitely. There's a lot of wigeon and a lot of gadwall showing up right now. It's kind of funny. I would say that the number one bird that I've been seeing the most of here in the last couple weeks is wigeon. Usually the teal get here first, and everybody kind of knows, quote unquote, when the ducks are here, because the teal shoots start getting good down on the clubs and all that kind of thing. But I've been seeing a lot of wigeon, and the thing with wigeon and gadwall and starting for spinners is usually they're pretty easy to trick when the spinners come out. So I'm thinking it'll definitely pick up here. And again, kind of relating back to the Idaho and the stuff like farther north than here, we really need the cold weather to stick around up there, if not down here, only because I think up there even you see a little bit of reverse migration, like stuff deadlocks and the birds get out of there, and then it seems like there's something, whether it's instinctual or what, but it's almost like they know when it warms up a little bit that they can come back and they can bump back up. When I was doing my stuff up in Idaho, we would see that very regularly. It got really cold. New birds would show up when it got really cold, but then they would get out of there once stuff kind of deadlocked and froze over. But then hunting on the thaw a lot of times was just as good as hunting when it was really cold, or we had a storm or anything like that. So that doesn't help or relate to the stuff in California too much. But I would say at least the stuff like for what little mallards do still migrate in the Pacific Flyway, I think a big part of it is just having the stuff up above us deadlocked and really, really cold, and kind of forcing their hand to get down here. But overall duck numbers have been pretty good, it seems like, especially this last week and a half. Like I said, I had a really, really good shoot this last Saturday, and it was a fog break, which in my opinion is pretty much the best conditions you can ask for, both for mallard hunting and for just regular duck hunting. If that fog breaks at the right time late in the morning, and those birds are tired and hungry from flying up in the fog, or even if they're not hungry, but they just want to get down and rest. I mean, you can make something out of nothing in a hurry, that's for sure. And so I think as long as we have those right conditions, I think that the duck numbers are here. I would say that hunt that I had last Saturday, I saw definitely in the 10 to 15,000 bird range. And I know that's hard to fathom. Everybody's driven through like the closed zone at their local refuge, and you see a ton of ducks and you're like, how many is that actually? But it was a nonstop flight of ducks from the rice south of the refuge for at least 2 hours and 15 minutes. And I mean, yeah, so
That's incredible.
I think the numbers are here. It's the old telltale sign for California. You don't always need the weather to bring them down, but you need the weather to redistribute them and to get them moving, because all these ducks are getting smarter every year. They're in their patterns, and there's a reason that they're alive.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, right on, man. Well, I'm going to let you get back to the hunt, but I really appreciate you coming on here and just kind of checking in, letting us know how the season's going. We'll have to check back in with you in a few weeks and kind of see how December goes for you and everything. But yeah, man, until then, I look forward to, maybe we can get a hunt together this season or something, but look forward to connecting with you next time I'm down in your neck of the woods.
Sounds good. Yeah, man, let me know.
Cool, man. Hang tight for a second, Landon.
Okay.
See ya. All right, man. So we're recording now. Cool. All right, so we got our next guest on here, Colin Osier. I'm pumped to have Colin on for the Fowlers because Colin is based down in Southern California, specifically the LA area, and he does most of his hunting in SoCal. So, Colin, welcome to For the Fowlers, man.
What's up, man? Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So, as you know, this episode, we're kind of checking in with some hunters, and I know you've been pretty active on Instagram following the For the Fowlers page and commenting on the podcast. So, first off, man, we really appreciate the support with the podcast, but we just want to check in and kind of see how the season's going for you so far. How are things going down in Southern California?
Well, just from what I've listened to some people up there, it seems like it's about the same down here, man. I kind of keep track of my hunt stats over the years, and there's a bunch of different apps that do it, but it's just nice being able to look back. And opening weekend was a slower start, and we just weren't seeing the numbers of birds that we have even the last 2 years. And I kind of chalked it up to like, well, last year, I don't know if you remember, we opened like a week later.
Yep.
So I thought maybe that had something to do with it, but I started comparing the numbers, and I am significantly behind this year from the previous 2 years. And I have some theories about it. And most of it's probably just justifying it, but it's been slow, man. It's been slow.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious because, like, you know, the conversation up north has been, you know, birds were all kind of loaded up. Obviously, a lot of those local birds. Then we had some kind of like a real early migration. You get the teal that come down and everything. But I don't know if you remember or paid attention to the weather up north, but we had a pretty good little storm the week of the opener. And that just kind of push the birds out, right? And so obviously you get that Saturday morning, that opening day success. The averages weren't quite as good as we all expected, but people still got into it. But you know, I hunted later that week and just the averages died off. You know, I hunted that Wednesday and then that following weekend, and everything just kind of died off. And it's really been kind of slow to rebound up here. So
that's about the same here. Like, I know Kern is typically the furthest north that I'll go to hunt. And I want to say they were super low on water, and I think they only gave out 5 or 6 resis, and their quota was like 50 or 60 hunters.
Yeah.
So their average was like a 4.7 or something like that, which was pretty insane. But I think the last time I looked, which would have been a week or two ago, they were averaging like, and their quota is still pretty low, but they were averaging like 2 birds down to like 1.5 is kind of where they're at.
Yeah, and you and I were talking kind of offline here, and I know I want to have you on for another episode just to kind of talk about Southern California hunting. We'll dive more into it, but like, you know, when you talk about the Kern and stuff like that, what kind of birds are kind of hanging out there on the opener? What are people mostly shooting out there? Do you know by chance?
So Kern is pretty much the only place. If you're in SoCal, it's the only place you're going to see like big numbers of big ducks.
Okay.
That early in the season, it's all there. The big two are always going to be spoonies and green wings. They'll get a lot of cinnamons like the first month or two, but then there's going to be a lot of pintail. You'll always see like a handful of mallards, a lot of redheads for some reason, and wigeon too. Lots of wigeon.
Nice.
Yeah.
So, I was going to ask you kind of the overall vibe of the season so far. It doesn't sound like it's better, but maybe not worse. Is it just kind of a weird start? Is that kind of how you compare it to previous seasons?
I would say it is worse, but not. It's not a bad thing. It's just kind of, it is what it is. My theory is that, so the last 2 years, it's been dry and down here. Like I know last year you guys got a ton of rain up there. Mm-hmm. And we were like single digit inches of rain all last winter, which is like not great for wintering habitat, but it does one thing really well and like consolidates the birds.
Yep.
And last year, it's like if you could find the little spots where they were at, I was averaging like 4 to 5 birds a hunt last year. It was the best season I've ever had.
Nice. Yeah.
And I think it had a lot to do with like there was less water. A lot of people stayed home because there was less water, and it was pretty warm all year. And this year, I mean, thankfully we got a ton of rain. It rained for 4 or 5 days straight last week, and we're probably going to get a couple more of those. So birds are super spread out. I think it's also everything seems to be a couple weeks behind, where I think a lot of birds are kind of hanging out further north. Oregon and Washington, you know what I mean?
For sure.
And we were shooting, like you guys were probably shooting locals. Normally we get a huge push of green wings and spoonies and like all of that stuff. And I just haven't really seen it. There's guys getting into some birds, but it's been slower November than the last 2 years.
Yeah, that's kind of been the story up here too. I mean, I've been talking about it on the podcast, rice fields are starting to flood up. So guys are getting more and more access to their public land. It's kind of spreading the birds out a little bit. Where I live, I just kind of live right outside Sacramento here. And I was literally driving through the rice fields here in like the Pleasant Grove area, it's called. And they just started flooding about a week ago. And yeah, we're getting new birds down here already. So
yeah,
even last night, man, just nothing but specks flying over the house all night.
Good.
So they're heading your way. They'll be there shortly. So
there you go.
Yeah. So obviously we met on Instagram here, and I follow your page. Remind me, what's your Instagram again?
The Instagram is called The Sweat Line.
Yeah, The Sweat Line. So yeah, guys, go check it out. Follow Colin on the Sweat Line there. But I wanted to just kind of check in with you. Sorry, who's calling? All right. So I wanted to check in with you, like any hunts that you want to share. I mean, I've been kind of following along on Instagram, but anything stand out that you want to share so far this season? Or
well, it's been slow. Opening day was actually not bad, man. We were kind of at a off. Nobody in the crew pulled a resi, and it's because we only really have like 3 refuges to choose from. It can get pretty hectic.
Sure.
San Jacinto has like 50 spots, and you'll typically see 300 people. 300 groups, I mean, in the parking lot. So it's pretty discouraging. So we decided to go off the refuge and just like not a very ducky spot, but national forest. And sometimes there's birds. And 3 of us were like scratched out 7 and got a couple mallards and a couple pintails. So that was like probably my favorite hunt of the year so far.
Nice. Well, good for you guys. That's always kind of fun when people kind of do their own thing and break away from the crowd and everything. So good for you and your buddies for sure.
Yeah, man, that was a good one.
Yeah. So you mentioned those 3 refuges. Which refuges or which areas seem to be kind of holding birds lately?
So I unfortunately have not been down to Worcester yet. I've sworn off San Jacinto indefinitely. I'll never go back there. But I mean, power to you if you can hang tough in there. But usually Worcester, the numbers are very misleading. So if it's if it's averaging, which I just looked up the numbers, they averaged like 1.7 this last hunt day. So that means there's probably a handful of ponds for people that have done their time down there that they're shooting limits. It's going to be, and there's a dude on Instagram. He's a guide down there, the Salton Sea Guide Service or something like that.
Check him out,
dude. There's probably millions of birds that end up on the sea. It's mostly teal, but they get a lot of wigeon and spoonies and stuff. It's like December, is when stuff really starts going. So that's going to be what I'm looking forward to pretty soon.
Nice. And we'll dive more into this on your SoCal episode, but I'm curious, you said you swore off San Jacinto. What's kind of the quick story there?
Well, I'll tell you this. They set off a foghorn at shoot time.
Jeez, okay.
I kid you not, dude. In an effort to stop people, the place is small enough that a dude will just stand in the middle of the refuge with like a foghorn, and he lets it rip at shoot time, and that's when World War III takes off.
That makes sense. All right.
Yeah, there's no closed zone at that refuge, so you get about 15 minutes of mayhem shooting ducks that you can't tell what they are, like 60 yards in the air, and then it's over.
Crazy.
I hate it.
Yeah, for sure. Well, right on, man. Well, so what kind of birds are you guys seeing most out there right now? What's the flight been looking like, or the migration? What's it been looking like out there?
A lot of green wings. I've actually not that many spoonies this year, which is kind of tough because that's usually like makes up a big percentage of our birds down here, but lots of cinnamon, more cinnamon this year than I saw last year, which is nice. And I haven't looked at all those numbers, but my guess would be like green wings and the cinnamons are going to be the leading birds here pretty soon. We're going to start seeing the pintail harvest really take off because a lot of them will kind of winter around that Salton Sea area.
For sure. One of my hunts this year, one of my goals is to get my 3 pintail and then just fill the strap. You mentioned the spoonies. I'd love to just do my 3 pintail and fill the rest with spoon. I think that'd be a pretty fun little picture there.
Oh man, I know. And there's enough Hank Shaw recipes out there that you can figure out what to do with spoonies. So
for sure. So well, run on, man. Any hunts coming up that you're looking forward to?
Well, I'm probably gonna do a little rip up north this weekend with a buddy and try and hunt like a type C area Friday and Saturday and just we're tired of hunting in short sleeves, we need to go north where it's cold.
Yeah, I hear you on that. Well, we were talking before we started recording here. It's definitely cooling down when you get this far north. That's for sure. So, we'll connect again as the season goes on, but what's kind of your prediction for the rest of the season or heck, maybe just this next month? We'll check back in and see if you're right, but what are you thinking? What's it going to be like?
Here it is, man, because they did the BPOP survey and there's like 49% more mallards and like all these, the wigeon was up, like all these birds are up. The birds are out there. They're just not here yet. I really think that December and January are about to be Western. I think it's about to get really, really hectic. So I've gone out a lot less. After the first couple hunts didn't go the way that I thought they would, I decided I'm just going to save my days because I really think it's about to get hot and heavy.
Yeah, no, I get that same vibe for sure. So, let's fingers crossed that we're both right there. And
famous last words, dude. We say it every fucking year. I feel like we say the same thing.
Oh, big time. I was thinking about it the other day. It was one of our episodes where we're talking about like how duck hunters are the most optimistic, right? And honestly, I'm not going to say it's been a bad season so far. It's just been different. That's all I'll say.
Yeah. There's nothing like that, like 15 minutes before shoot time where you're like, today's the day, dude.
Oh, exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, a hunt recently, it was the same thing. You go into today's the day and shoot light, nothing's really flying. And I'm just like, what's going on here? And then sure enough, about 45 minutes to an hour in, it turned on. So
there you go.
Yeah, we'll take it. So, Well, right on, man. Well, hey, I appreciate us connecting here. Once again, guys, follow Colin on Instagram at the Sweatline. We'll tag him on our post here on Instagram as well when we get this going. But yeah, Colin, man, good luck the rest of the season. We'll check in with you and have a happy Thanksgiving.
Yeah, thank you, sir. You do the same. We'll talk soon.
Sounds good, man. Hang tight.
All right.
All right, that was our last guest of the episode. Really appreciate everyone coming on and sharing their reviews so far of how this season's going for them. Really excited to see all the pictures on Instagram and Facebook and all the different social medias. Great stuff seeing guys getting into birds this season. Love seeing all the different pictures and whatnot. But yeah, don't forget you can follow us on Instagram at For the Fowlers, and please continue to rate and review us on Spotify, Apple, YouTube, and anywhere else you may be listening to our podcast. We really appreciate it. So hope everyone had a great holiday. Happy Thanksgiving once again, and we will chat with you soon. Bye.